back to World War II, where we have atomic veterans who have not yet received compensation for being in testing areas without being told. We have merchant mariners who never got benefits of our GI Bill, who are in their 80s, and we need to say thank you to. And we have a group of veterans who were drafted into the Army in 1941. All the Filipinos who were in the Filipino Army and in various units and various irregular areas defending that territory, that was a territory of ours. And we drafted all the soldiers into our Army with the promise that they would have benefits later. Those Filipino soldiers, over 250,000 of them, held up the Japanese advance for weeks and weeks and weeks beyond their scheduled advance. It allowed us back home to prepare better and for MacArthur to return. And though the Japanese overran the Philippines in the terrible battles of Corregidor and forced the famous death march of Bataan, the surviving soldiers were able to harass the Japanese through guerrilla work, and they were not strong enough to resist MacArthur when he returned. And in fact, it was the Filipinos bravely, alongside their American counterparts, who helped to win the war in the Pacific. After the war was over, after we had won in both the Atlantic and the Pacific, the Philippines were granted their independence. And the Congress of 1946 said, you got your independence, you take care of your veterans. Yes, you saved America, but that's your problem, not ours anymore. Although President Truman signed the legislation which embodied that in law, he said we must repair this moral travesty. We promised those veterans full benefits. We have taken them away. We have to go and give them back. That was 62 years ago, Mr. Chairman, and that travesty still burns in the hearts of the Filipinos who are alive and their family members. The amendment I have in front of the body says that basically we're sorry but thank you, and provides a pension for those brave Filipino veterans. This is a moral necessity for America to close the chapter on World War II. This is a moral necessity for this Congress to make up for a mistake that was made 62 years ago. I know many members of this body agree with remedying this moral disaster. And yet we've had problems of how we pay for that and how we somehow use the budget to make sure that we are helping these deserving veterans while not taking away from our brave young men and women from either World War II or Vietnam, Korea, Persian Gulf War I, or the present conflicts. So, Mr. Chairman, I am trying to figure out a way to do that. I know the vast majority of this body agrees with me, and I look forward to working with you to find a way to do that. I know there are other speakers on this amendment. I would hope that we have a colloquy with the chairman on his time in a few minutes, and I would yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back.
The gentleman from Texas continue to reserve his point of order.